relationship with the Most High. So we're going to continue from my last video because it's an ongoing journey, isn't it? And we're all at different stages. So a big shout out to Shades of Reality, who's asked for more. And I highly recommend you check out her page because she is just so inspirational. She's a beautiful soul. She's genuine, she's kind, and she's filled with absolute love and wonderful wisdom and words of beauty and lovely affirmations and kindness. So go check her out. So Shades of Reality, here we go. So relationship with the Most High and a kind of why we struggle. And so I think the reason why we struggle to remember, we're going to go into with my next video, because I have to take that in a different direction and using only the knowledge that we're here knowing what we've been given, hence the need for discernment, because we know what is written cannot be trusted sometimes. So you've really got to go in yourself to find out what's true. But we'll get into it. So why we struggle to remember, this is like the first part of that, the way to remember. Okay, so these are some of the guidelines of how to remember and what I did in order to find out for myself. So obviously when you're young, you start with only what you're told and then what you know from what other people tell you and what history tells you. We know there's a question mark over that, don't we? So you've got to use your feelings and your senses. Definitely. Why do you think they take them out of you by the time you finish school? There's reasons for that. So for me, I started out with religion. That's all you can know because parents took me there. These are my foster parents. And of course, use this, what I'm giving you, for your own individual story. And you'll know exactly where you are and how to apply it. So for me, I started with only what my foster parents were giving me. And then obviously she was a fanatic, so that didn't help. And I was taught about the Most High based on what benefited her, you see? So it wasn't a true analysis. It wasn't a true image, a true journey. And so inevitably, like I say, for one of the most profound relationships next to your children and your loved ones, you want this to be as honest and true and as real as it can get. I take my relationship with the Most High extremely seriously. Okay. And the fact that people, society hinders on that and tries to infringe and keep you disconnected, I feel it deeply. So let's get into it. So what we want is, or what you want to know is, you're on a clear path to the divine using your discernment. And so by this, I mean logic with a hint of emotional intuition, and emotional intuition with a hint of logic. And by that, I mean logic and emotions will share the unraveling of the answers. So you're going to use both, and when to use and when not to use. So by this, I mean logic and emotions will share the answers. Logic giving you the facts, because look, when it's staring you in the face, and it is what it is, don't try to talk yourself out of it. It's right. It's there in your face. Be like a child. Yeah? That's why adults can't stand children, because they ask the right question and they ask it in that right way. So, basically, when it makes sense and it's showing you it makes sense, trust in it, believe in it. You have the courage for curiosity to find out. All right? You do. So let's have an example of what it would be as in trying to find out if you're on the right path, and are you feeling the connection? So let's see it as you're in the wilderness. It's a massive national park surrounded by mountains and valleys and wildlife. Now I'm looking this way because I broke this down last night of how I was going to explain it to you and what kind of ideas I could give you to try and relate to. So you're in the wilderness, and now imagine you're lost. You feel that disorientation, the pounding of the heart, the moment you realize and accept that you are lost and you have no sense of direction. So your bearings are all misconstrued. So what do you do? What would you do in that in that situation. You're just in a national park and you've realized, oops, I'm bitten off a bit more I can chew, and I think and so what would you do? You'd search the immediate area to see if there's anything familiar with you. If you recognize that maybe you haven't gone too far off trail, you'd call out, you'd shout out to see if there's anyone nearby, any other life forms nearby. You'd look and listen for a river. You'd seek signs of life. You'd look for a main trail. You'd seek signs of familiarity. But now imagine that the forest is the Most High. And you're trying your best to figure it out, to get to his main trunk, that main source of where he is. And then he spans out like branches and trees and bushes and rivers and wilderness. It's absolutely gorgeous. But you need to know the starting. You need to be just where he's at. And so how do you get there? So you're imagining that the Most High is now the forest. You've reached a sense of belonging, because a forest is a forest. So you know you're familiar, it's familiar. You know you're still on Earth. So you're not fully, completely in an alien environment, but it can almost feel like that. So you've reached a sense of belonging, but can't recall the way, but it feels right. Now there's your senses all working. Everything's going off inside you. That's your faith calling you. Yeah, you're feeling a bit, but somehow something still feels right. Have the courage and the curiosity to continue. All right, that's what that's telling you. So your faith in your subconscious conveying to you that you are on the right track and you must continue. This is where the discernment between religion and the inner spirit, your spiritual journey, which to me is my true minister, is how you're going to determine. So what have you learned from religion, and what have you discovered from your spiritual journey? And now you make the comparisons. What are you keeping as wisdom, and what are you going to release out of the both of them? So, like I said, what have you learnt from either or both? What felt right to release and what felt right to keep as wisdom? This is the approach that I use, whether I'm walking, climbing, running, riding the path to the Most High. I want to feel the ascension to the light, and you will feel each time you make progress, feel it. So this is going to be your approach. And with all things, when it comes to the Most High, I keep it simple. Because the Most High was never complicated. That's humans for you, because they want to shroud you. They want to put the darkness over you so you cannot see the truth. There's no clarity. So you're running around, umming and ahhing, becoming more frustrated and more angry each day. The more you do that, the more disconnected you are, and the harder it is to get back on that trail where you're like, yeah, I know where I'm going, and the Most High can see me coming. That invisible thread. Even though you can't see the thread, you can feel the thread. And so each time you become bolder and you become a being with more courage, there it is. So continue your journeys, my darling. Continue the journeys and let whatever fall off onto the wayside, let it fall. So through asking the questions in a childlike manner is when you get the epiphany and you get the clarity. So keep it simple. Okay, when it's right, it speaks for itself. It shows for itself, and you feel content and comfortable. That is your cue. Anyway, I hope this has helped, and tomorrow we'll talk more about why we feel so lost. And I think I might have to go back for some of the things that I read in the book of Enoch for that, because remember, we're using only the information that we have around us to decipher this and for it to make sense. Anyway, my darlings, for those of you that do find this insightful and interesting and helpful, please do like and follow or subscribe. And for those of you that already do, you know what I'm going to say. You're beautiful and you are wondrous. You are enough then, you are enough now, and you will always be enough. And on that note, Jah love.